Welcome back to the D2R Loot Goblin. So today's a pretty straightforward update. I wanted to walk through some of the UI changes that I added to make it a little easier to navigate through the web pages. Uh, so what you'll first notice is when you're in the items page, we have these quick tabs to get between anything within this section. So we have the unique items, the set items, and the gear explorer. This also is in the runes section. So we have runes, bases, rune words, and the upgrade calc. Quickly navigate through all of this. Item valuation. So there's been a little bit of a change since the last video. Once I got all the item valuation up and running, I realized you might want to check more than one thing at one time. So what I did is the same idea here. So within this page, we have the charms, we have the jewels, rings, amulets, and I've got my placeholder for gear, which will be circlets, boots, and gloves, probably, and then PvP eventually. Cool thing about this, you can come in, check an item. Let's go with a good all resist with magic find, the optimal small charm. That's a great job. Um, cool thing I also added is when you're in here, let's say you want to share this in a Discord or post a picture or anything. If you click share snapshot, you can copy it to the clipboard or download it for yourself to keep. Um, paste it in, and it's essentially the quick value checker here. So it'll give you this whole image to paste in. Can help you price out your items when you're posting on other web pages. And I added this little explanation up here. I think this is important for people to understand. So the item value checker, its goal and its purpose is not to say you have a 6 rating, therefore it costs a job. That's not my goal. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is give you a 0 to 10 rating that allows you to see, based on which affix is rolled, what the rolls on the affixes were, and the combos. How does your item compare to what people are really paying premium prices for? So this being one of the better, the one of the best that you can get as a small charm, an all res with magic find. The only thing that's really gonna kill the score is dropping down some of this, and it's not. There are big drops, but perfect is one thing. But as soon as it becomes not perfect, people tend to drastically drop their prices. So it makes a big difference what the rules are. Low all resist, low magic find, it's still good. You're still going to be able to get a trade value for it. But the whole idea of the scoring is it can be better, and at the optimal roll, that is where you're going to get the most runes back in your trade. That is how this works. I'm not saying a 7 on tradery, for example, is a certain thing, because there are other places you can trade. There's tradery, there's even open discords. There are so many discords that you could use this to say, hey, here's the value of my item. This is what I'm asking for. And eventually, what I hope is as people give me feedback on the combos and the things that I have built into this that essentially are where the real value comes from. Like the combo bonus, you get 6. This combo bonus scales with the rolls, because what I also wanted to do was keep a 10-point scale for everything. And what makes that difficult is there's only 2 affixes on a small charm. Grand charm, large charm. The jewels, there's only 2 affixes, compared to a ring and an amulet where you can have 6. So I used the combos and the meta to help define what makes these items exponentially better. On the amulets and the rings, your affixes are absolutely critical, because if you only have 2 of your 6 affixes being really meta and really useful, it doesn't have value. Even if those 2 are super useful, if the other 4 are bad, what that means is those 4 other affixes could have rolled a better affix, and it could have had things that are more useful to your builds. So if you only have 2 good prefixes, or 1 good prefix, 1 good suffix, you're probably going to be down in here, down in the solid range. The whole goal is to help people understand where the value comes from and help people learn how to trade better. I don't want to tell people what to trade for. What I want to try and help people understand is what makes items valuable. And if you really want to dig into that, you can come to the guides, and there's a little bit of an explanation as to what goes into each of them: charms, jewels, rings, and amulets. They all are slightly different with how the bonus comes in because of what I said. Charms and jewels, you only have 2 affixes, 1 prefix, 1 suffix. You get down to the rings and amulets, it can be anything. You can have a rare ring with 4 affixes. You can have a rare amulet with 6. And that's when the combos start to come in. Amulets take into account the class. If it's a sorceress amulet, it's going to value faster cast rate over leech or something like that. So those types of things go into the scoring. Um, I think that's about it. I think that's, oh yeah, I have these little links. If you want to directly click one, it'll take you right down to it. Um, yeah, so what I kind of just wanted to walk through was ways it's a little easier to navigate through, and how the scoring works now that I have what I feel like is one of the best systems out there for Diablo 2 to help people understand what creates value in items. And it can only get better as people use it. And if you see something that looks off, or if there's remember, PvP is going to be on its own, but if there's something that trades really well for a class that you see scoring lower, it might be because it's a newer meta, and that would be a perfect time. Send me feedback. Click this. Make sure it's on the Charm and Jewel checker or the Ring and Amulet checker so I know where we're talking. And then give me as much detail as you can down here, like what's the meta build, what's that combination. Send it in to me, and what I'll do is I research every single thing I get in before I make any changes. I don't just knee-jerk react. What I want to try and do is keep up with the season, keep up with the meta, and as the prices evolve, we can refine this and make it more accurate so that everybody's looking at the items the same way. And, in the long term, maybe this catches on, and now we're all speaking the same language when it comes to item value. If it doesn't, it's still a cool tool for people to use just for themselves. So it's really whatever we make of it as a community. But thank you guys again. It actually has been getting a lot of use. I have some tracking in the back so that I can see, as people are putting stuff into it, where everything's falling, or people putting in all GGs, all usable. And what I'm seeing is pretty normal. Not a lot of GG, very few premiums, a lot of usable, solid, and good. That's exactly what we would expect to see, because that's essentially what drops in the game. So it helps me to see that the values do seem to be accurate. So again, send me whatever feedback you can, and I hope everyone's enjoying the tool. Thank you guys, and keep grinding.